Hey guys, welcome back. Today is Friday, February 13, 2026, and in this video, we're going to walk through the 5 most important races shaping the 2026 elections using real candidates, real structures, and the actual electoral battlefield and maps. So, this isn't just some speculation or broad commentary, we're really going to go into the nitty-gritty of the most important 5 races to understand who is running, what the structure looks like, and why each one could shape the national outcome significantly. Let's begin. The first most important race is the main Senate race. One of the most structurally important Senate races in the country right now is this one in specific. So currently the candidate is Senator Susan Collins, who's running for re-election as an incumbent. And what makes this race so critical is that Collins is one of the last crossover Republicans in a state that consistently votes Democratic at the presidential level. So her strategy really relies on moderates, independents, and ticket splitters, but that coalition has really been shrinking as we see it. Now, to look at the map over here, Democrats are expected to consolidate behind a stronger challenger, potentially like Governor Janet Mills, which would immediately nationalize the race and make it much more significant. And if that happens, the race becomes less about personality and more about whether ticket splitting still exists. And if ticket splitting collapses, Collins becomes significantly more vulnerable regardless of her approval. And if this seat flips, it directly changes Senate control nationally, which is why Maine is one of the most watched races in the country right now. Number 2, North Carolina Senate race. So North Carolina is one of the clearest battleground Senate races in the country right now. And the seat is open, which really increases the volatility. Republicans are currently backing Michael Whatley, while Democrats are expected to rally behind former Governor Roy Cooper, one of the strongest statewide candidates in the country as of right now. So look at the map. Unlike Maine, this race is more about turnout structure. So it really depends on the urban turnout in Charlotte and Raleigh versus rural turnout across the state, which will really decide everything. Even small shifts in smaller cities can really swing the result here. And this race often mirrors the national environment. If Democrats win here, their Senate path strengthens dramatically. And if Republicans hold it, they secure a key pillar of their strategy. This is a control determining race, which is why you should really keep an eye out for this one. Third is the Texas governor race. So now we shift to state level power, where some of the biggest national shift starts. So Texas has Governor Greg Abbott, who is running again for re-election. And early indicators suggest that this race could actually be much more competitive than in previous cycles. Historically, Texas has been a Republican stronghold, but currently, there's been a lot of change in that, and races have become closer and closer. To look at the governor map, Abbott enters with strong institutional advantages, as I said before, Texas is a historic stronghold, but the structural trend in Texas has been gradually narrowing due to urban growth, suburban realignment, and demographic change. And what makes this race nationally important is not whether Abbott wins, but by how much. Because if the margin is tightened, both parties must really rethink their long-term strategy, resource allocation, and future electoral maps. So Texas shapes national political momentum even when it does not flip it totally. Fourth is the Michigan governor race. So Michigan, one of the most politically sensitive states in the country, may play a large role in shaping the 2026 upcoming elections. So currently, Governor Gretchen Whitmer is term limited, making this a fully open race. And open statewide races are structurally unpredictable because incumbency totally disappears. So there's really no advantages in these types of races. So to look at this governor map, Michigan is decided by fragile coalitions. Both parties rely on suburban voters, working class turnout, and economic messaging. When even one shifts slightly, results change very quickly. Because there's no incumbent, this becomes a pure test of candidate strength in national environment. Whichever party wins here gains strategic momentum in one of the most decisive political states in the country right now. Fifth and finally is the California governor race. So California is not really competitive in a partisan sense, as it's historically very democratic and liberal, but one of the most important leadership transitions in the country. Governor Gavin Newsom is term limited, which opens the largest leadership contest in the United States. To look at the maps here, California's governor shapes national policy in the direction of technology, artificial intelligence, climate, economics, and regulations. Political ideas and governance models from California often originate in California before spreading nationally. And whoever wins this race does not just lead the state, they really become a national leader in shaping the long-term policy environment of the entire country, which is why this race is especially important to look out for. So, what do these races really tell us about 2026? So, the Senate majority could hinge on Maine and North Carolina. State level power in Texas and Michigan will shape national momentum, and leadership change in California will influence long term policy decisions and directions. So, modern elections are decided in a handful of structurally critical races like these, which really throws things around and makes it very unexpected. If you want to track elections like an analyst, watch three signals: candidate strength, turnout structure, and movement on the map over time. Because by the time most people realize what happened, the outcome is usually already forming. This is the next majority. Comment which race you want to dive deeper into next, and I'll break it down for you. I'll see you in the next analysis.